Right, welcome back everybody. We're going to do another tag ephemera thing today. This is the one I made originally for Tracy's December Daily in 2021, and it's just basically a pocket, but it's the size, the Crafty Cat 50 stack challenge size, which is 6.5 by 3.5, which I really like for this type of ephemera piece, shall we say. I'm going to follow Crafty Cat's prompt for this one. I think we're on number 17, number 17, which is napkin. And I'm going to do that because I think it's quite a good technique to show you if you don't know about it. But I might not carry on following them for any more of these that I do, so we'll see how we go. So this is what we're going to make today. Very similar to the Tracy one, except I've put a little booklet in the back pocket. So what we need to start with is a piece of card which measures 6.5 by 6. I've very lightly scored it at 3.5. I don't want to score it properly at the moment because I want to cover it first, but if I just know which way I'm going, it means I can get everything the right way up. So let me just get a sheet of paper to cover it with. You'll see what I mean in a second. So this is going to fold over and be the pocket on the back. So I really need to cover it from here all the way round to here. So it actually works out quite well on this piece of paper. So if I put the cover, if I do it that way, then it's going to look good. So I'm going to use glue stick to glue this down. I'm going to do that and then I'll be back. So I've just come back to show you how I finished this off. So I've glued it down. I've made sure that I've put glue stick over the whole of the back as best I can. Got a little bubble there of something. And especially down where I'm going to fold it. And then this is the piece that's going to fold over. I don't need it to be this wide, so I'm just going to just cut a bit off. You could tear a bit off, and then I'm going to glue this piece, and I'm going to do this by making sure I glue down there and right down this edge, and then fill in. I'm quite liberal with my glue sticks when I'm doing this sort of thing, especially covering something. One's nearly run out. Fold this over. And then we just need to cut these pieces off. Be on the safe side, I'm going to score again just so that I get a nice crease. You really should wait though until the glue is dry. So I'm just going to go steady with that. So there we are, gluing at 3.5, and then we fold that over and just crease everything down. And this is our little or will be our little pocket. I've actually done 2. So the next thing we're going to do is sort out some napkin to decorate the front. Okay, so I'm going to use this napkin. I've torn off a square. It's still got its 3 layers, and I'm just working out which bit I want. The easiest way to do this, especially if you're not used to using napkins, is to find a piece that will cover the whole of your front. I think for this one, I did tear it off down here, but it does make it a bit trickier to work with. So we'll cut a piece that's the whole of this width, and I'm going to go more or less for that. I'm going to cut it slightly bigger. just a little bit bigger than my front there. We can trim it up later. And then we need to take off the top layer of this napkin, so it should be in three layers, and we only want the top layer, which is this piece. So you've got 2 extra layers there. Some people keep those, I tend to throw them away. Make sure you've got your pocket the way round that you want it. So I'm having mine this way round. I'm going to layer this on here, and I'm going to go back to glue stick again for this. So I am basically going to cover the front of this with my glue stick. I need a new one though, so bear with me. You can use Mod Podge for this, matte medium is good as well, but they're all, to me, they're quite wet, and I don't want to make this too wet, so I tend to use glue stick if I can. There would be occasions where I might use the others, but for this, I think the glue stick will be just fine. I just want to make sure I've got a coating over the whole of that piece. And then the tricky bit is to try and get this on without too many wrinkles. So I'm just going from the middle. It's very delicate at this stage. I'm taking my bone folder, but I'm going very softly over that at the moment. You will find that it can tear. Just be prepared, but it's only paper. You can always start again. I think we're all right. So I'm going to let that dry before I try and trim it off. It's quite wet at the moment, but you can see that it's well stuck down, and we are going to stitch over this, so that will help a bit as well. And what's nice is that you can see the book page behind that. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll be back. So I've trimmed this one up. I'll show you the other one in a minute. So I've trimmed this one up. I've done a zigzag stitch down this edge, the edge of the pocket. And what I'm going to do next is straight stitch down the front, zigzag across the bottom, straight stitch up this fold, and zigzag across the top. So let me just show you the trimming up, because I've done 2 of these. Tissue can be a bit trickier than paper, but if you just take your time, I've got my scissors right on the edge of the card. Use a craft knife if you've got a good sharp one. Don't try and do it with a blunt one, or you'll rip the tissue. Helps if you've got sharp scissors as well. Let's see if I can do it with these scissors. So I'm just taking these bits off that work quite so well. And obviously on your folded edge, just be careful you don't cut into your fold. Okay, so the same thing with this one. I'm going to zigzag first of all down this edge here, and then zigzag straight, zigzag straight. So I've got 2 pockets completed. Right, so we've got our 2 pockets stitched. If you're not using a sewing machine, obviously you can glue these down. If I wasn't using a sewing machine, I'd ink all the edges with distress ink. I'm going to add an eyelet at the top. Usually get everything ready, but I didn't get these out before. So we're going to have an eyelet in the top corner just because I want a bit of decoration. So that's using my crocodile, and we'll find some sari silk or something to put through there in a minute. I will do the same with this one. And now we're going to make our little booklet to go in the back. And the first thing you need is a piece of card 5 3/4 by 6. We're going to just cut this in, fold this in half. But I want to cover both sides with my book page first. So I just do that in the same way with the glue stick. So let me get that sorted and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've covered both sides. I was just showing you this one. You'll need to cover one side, then trim it down, and then cover the other side and trim that down. Otherwise it's really quite hard to see the edges. You get in a right muddle. Always do it bigger and cut it all down with a paper trimmer or a craft knife if you don't want to do it this way. See by the way it's bending the glue, even though it's glue stick, and I use the glue stick because it doesn't warp the paper. It does leave it quite damp. Anyway, this one's not too bad, so we're going to decide which we want as our cover. And we're going to, this is 6 inches at the widest point, so we're going to score at 3. Fold that over. I always check because this scoreboard is not quite accurate. So in this case, I would just, because I like things equal, I would just trim this up. It might be that my card was cut slightly big. Doesn't really matter that much, but trim it down a little bit won't hurt either. So there's that. I want the corners rounded for this one, so I'm just using corner rounder. And then I've cut an image. This is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to glue that on the front. I'm going to round the corners of this. Sit on there, but I'm going to straight stitch around the edge of this before I glue it onto here, and I'm also going to straight stitch around the outside edge of this cover. So if I go away and do that, and then I'll be back. Right, so there's our book cover stitched. This is the lilac one. I'm just going to flatten these stitches a little bit. And on here. Need a bit of glue on this. This is just going to sit on there. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this. Sorry, I've gone a bit quiet there. Just go around the edges over that stitching. Try and line that up as best we can by eye. And then we need to do the pages on the inside. I'm actually going to stitch those in. So I have got a couple of sheets of paper. They measure 5 3/4 5 3/4 by 5.5. Literally just going to fold these, not worrying about scoring. We're going to curve the corners again. And then to stitch these in, I'm just going to pop them in the middle like this. Make sure they're lined up reasonably well. Okay, so we've pinned these in. Sorry, I don't know if you noticed a little gap there, I'm not sure really, but anyway. So I've got this thick book. I'm just going to do this by eye. I want 3 holes, one in the middle, approximately in the middle, and then we just go in about 1 inch from each end. So that's our 3 holes. I've got some wax linen thread here. It's about 3 times the length of my book. Probably doesn't need to be quite that long, and I'm just going to thread that through the middle, through this one, all the way down to the bottom, and then back up through the middle, and just make sure that you bring the thread up on the opposite side to the previous one. It's a bit long. Just ease that tight and then knot it. Trim that. And then I'm just going to reinforce those folds again. That's just our little 4-page book. You could obviously put more pages in that if you wanted to, or make it into another little junk journal, whatever you want. And then that is going to slot in the back, so the back looks pretty as well as the front. And we've just got finishing touches. Okay, so finishing touches, we've got our booklet in. I'm going to put a little scrap of sari silk in the top here. I haven't pressed this, it's a bit thin, but I think it'll look okay. Cut that relatively short. And then we're going to hang a little charm on there. I'm using my round nose pliers just because they're handy. Flat would be better. But you'll see why I've got these out in a minute. And then a ball pin. Oops. Pin that through there. Maybe you could have left that a bit longer actually, but never mind. And then we just need something to hold these down. So I'm just using a paper clip. I like to curl the edges or the ends of my paper clip. So with my round nose pliers, just go in like so. I can't remember who showed us how to do this originally. I've been doing it for years now. I think it might have been Tracy that I got it from. But I don't think it was her original idea. Anyway, whoever it was, brilliant, and thank you. I've used it ever since. So I'm just tying another little bit of sari silk on that paper clip. There we go. Just trim that a little bit as well, not too much. If I can find a wider bit for up there, I will sort something out. And there we are. 2 more napkin decorated pockets that look pretty on the back as well. Can be useful, make nice happy mail. And this was the original one. I like the irises, but I've run out of that napkin. So there we go. That's me done again for another of these, and I'll be back soon with another.